don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. I said, in this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. You make this parade a mere charade if you're marching just for fun. Our troops must feel your thanks for real before the marching is done. They know side by side you can match their stride to the drum beat and the brass, but they're not impressed with you unless you can match their stride in class. This may not sound too diplomatic, but I cannot be more emphatic as I tell you, it's problematic when you do less than your best, especially when it's because you put your brilliance on pause for the mere peer applause it draws from a so-called friend doing less. Quit playing, I'm saying, you know that you are great, and we know it, so show it. Don't make our heroes wait. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. For those of you who already do the things that make us proud, your nation in appreciation says thanks to you out loud. Your schoolmates should imitate the way you tap your potential. Let me try to convince them why their effort is essential. Our men and women in uniform, before, during, and after Desert Storm, always perform above the norm, anywhere and everywhere on the planet. They need to follow our heroes' lead, but they cannot lead if they cannot read. Allow me, please, to plant this seed. Don't take freedom for granted. I'm serious, I'm furious to see U.S. schools behind. Remove the clatter, it's just a matter of our making up our minds. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. We believe in you, warriors, protect you to do what you must to rise. Please do your part. Please start before another warrior dies. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. They sacrifice for you. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. Please.
Good afternoon and welcome to Wave Your Grades on KUAW.org, the academic patriotism program that is dedicated to veterans and serious secondary scholars. I am your announcer, DeQuay Wilson. Now here is our host, civilian urban educator, Carl Boyd.
Thank you very much, DeQuay Wilson, and welcome to Wave Your Grades on KUAW.org. Have a very special guest this afternoon who happens to be a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, and your host, yours truly, happens to be a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, and we used the term went over, but I was inducted into the fraternity February 18th, 1961 at 2:44 p.m. Iota chapter in Chicago, Illinois. So welcome, Brother Mark Davis.
Thank you for having me. That good single letter chapter there.
Yes, sir. That's exactly. Well, you're trying to mention something about age, as a matter of fact. But DeQuay, before we came on, you heard Brother Mark inquire about our conversation today because we have a full hour on the air. So in answer to your question, I'm thinking about something I said earlier to someone, referring to it in a sense as Celebration Saturday. Now, what do I mean when I say that? Because ultimately, I want to talk about young people who are indeed involved with our fraternity. But before we get to that, you and I both are going to say Happy Mother's Day.
That's right.
And as it turns out, My wife, wonderful Wanda, and I do not have biological children, and we have been blessed to have many young people refer to her as mom who are in her family and sometimes in the community.
Right.
So both Brother Davis and I will be saying Happy Mother's Day. That's one celebration. Another celebration worldwide, the selection of a new pope. And as both of you know, I happen to be a native Chicagoan. I was born in Chicago in 1942. And I won't necessarily say it's a source of pride. It's just a source of interest to me that for the first time, there is an American Pope. For the first time. I'm not Catholic. And those who are could help me and orient me, educate me. But Mother's Day, the Pope. We're also celebrating, and I don't know exactly how you would deal with the nomenclature, but there's something about someone I refer to as the Sinceres, but they're Bloodstone. And there is a celebration either this weekend or coming up for that singing group, Bloodstones. I have my Bloodstone story to tell as well. And this is a singular opportunity to say thank you, because Brother Mark Davis will tell us how we are celebrating and looking forward to the participation of young people with Kappa Alpha Psi programs. But let me stop there and ask you how you're feeling on Celebration Saturday.
I'm feeling good. Isn't Bloodstone from Kansas City?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
just checking because I'm originally from Junction City, Kansas. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is my adopted city where I chose to live.
Okay, there you go.
But yeah, happy Mother's Day to my beautiful wife, Deborah, from me and from my son, Miles Davis. So I'm feeling good. I think the news on the Pope was good.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. I haven't vetted this, but I think he may be of African descent.
Yes, sir.
Which I think is important, right? We're everywhere, and I think it's amazing. Going back to what you were saying, rising from humble beginnings, in Chicago for that Pope to lead millions of people in a religion religiously, which I think is extremely important. I too am not Catholic. My wife was Catholic before we had got married. Okay. But I think it's important that we have, regardless of your affiliation, you got to have that foundation. You need to have that spiritual foundation.
Yes, sir.
Because I explained to my son. He's there. Who do you talk to when things get rough? I was,
wow.
Put some holes in my knees.
Thank you.
My G's. Get down. I gotta pray because I don't have the answers, right? But that book that we celebrate has a lot of good mentoring answers in it. And I think we need to utilize it as more than we probably do.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, of course, DeQuay Wilson, whatever you would like to say, charm in, please. Because, see, when I'm looking at the guests this way, I don't see, and you might be getting ready to say something on the program. But for those who may not be familiar with Phi Nu Pi, who may not be familiar with Kappa League or Guide Right, tell us something about our fraternity's interaction, most particularly with young students.
Mm-hmm. Well, Kappa Alpha Psi was actually founded in 1911 in the University of Indiana. 10 incredible men. A lot of times when you get within the Divine Nine, they're like, "Well, we are founded at a black school. We were founded at HBCU," and I'm a proud. I'm not a proud member. I'm a proud adjacent because my son went to HBCU, right? Okay. But it's important to realize that those 10 men formed that fraternity, a bond of men, out of necessity because they were in Indiana during a time
very much
when segregation and Jim Crow were at a peak where it was a way of life.
Thank you.
And we had to use each other as a way to navigate. And that's we really went full circle. Yes. If we haven't gone full circle, we're heading full circle,
yes,
right?
Sir. That's exactly right.
That's where Kappa League, which was actually, there's a debate if it was founded in Los Angeles or Chicago. I too think it was founded in Chicago.
And I can honestly tell you, I'm not sure. I don't know.
But our Kappa League program, I'm real proud of it. I'm the chairman of our Kappa League program. We take young men from ages from 6th grade through high school. And we not only mentor them, because mentoring is part of it, but we get to know these young men, and we help navigate them through life. If you think about it, we're literally like one of the only group of individuals that don't have any type of a manhood training, where you go through ritually and things of that nature. So it's important for us as black men to help mentor children. And the other reason I think it's important is because I stole this from Les Brown, the motivator, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But he said something I thought was incredible. He said, sometimes you can't see the picture if you're inside the frame.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, that was big to me, because I can tell my son something like, son, don't do such and such and such. Whatever. He can't hear me. But one of my fraternity brothers will tell him the exact same thing I said.
Exactly.
He's like, Dad, Brother Boyd taught me about such and such.
Thank
I'm thinking
you.
to myself, I just told you that like a week ago.
Without a doubt.
But because it came from another voice,
yes.
it's more understandable to them. So, yeah, we are very active in the community with young men, and we're always looking for more young men too. It's funny, we were going through this ebb and flow. Either we had the commitment of the members, but we didn't have any kids.
Yes, sir.
Or we had, or vice versa, or we had the kids, and we didn't have enough brothers. We're at a sweet spot right now. We have incredible membership here in the Kansas City metropolitan area.
Yes.
And we are the only chapter in the metropolitan area of Kappa Alpha Psi, the Kansas City alumni chapter. So we service both Kansas and Missouri in our one chapter. So if there's any brothers that are out there who maybe are looking to be active, come help us out with Kappa League.
Yes, sir.
We're men of achievement.
Yes.
And so we're looking for brothers who have won out. And this is a funny thing when I talk about achievement. People think achievement is like reaching the pinnacle.
Right.
Oh no, it's about going out there, and what I call, my mother would call, playing in the street.
Yes, sir.
You're out there doing your best. Things don't work out, but you always land on your back so you can get up and keep it moving. So we're looking for those for young men that we can help. And let me say this, Brother Boyd, this is kind of this might be controversial, right?
All right.
A lot of times when you're dealing with these programs, we need kids that got a 3.5 to a 4.2. I mean, that's good, but I'm proud of that.
Yes, sir.
But I'll tell you what, man, I was a C student. I mean, it's like, I remember, my mom's not here with us anymore, so I can say this. I remember when I was in college, I think my first freshman year, I had like a 1.75. So my GPA was kind of like the president's. But and I asked the coach, I said, what do I need to be eligible to run? He said, 1.5. I'm like, I'm in there. I can run.
Well,
because I initially went to college just to run. I didn't, I didn't care academically. And I say that to say, man, I want to see, we need those, what I call high D students,
yes, sir.
C students, and low B students. Those are the ones that need the assistance, because they're going to get influenced one way or another. We want to be that safety net to influence them and show them all the possibilities they can, like we were just talking about the Pope.
Yes, sir.
Just because you're here today doesn't mean I own my own business. I was a C student. I help thousands of people in Kansas City area,
yes, sir.
Get on track financially. If you would have seen me when I was that kid, you would have never thought that.
Now, it's interesting that you said that, because KUAW, you are hearing from two gentlemen who have similar backgrounds, and I graduated with a C+. So it was interesting when I was coming through that there would be people who would trust me with leadership, even though my academic grade point average was indeed not at the top. But what was helpful to me was the number of encouragers who were around me. Somebody might select me for something, and I would immediately say, oh no, I'm not qualified for that. It did not take long for me to begin to understand, when you say I'm not qualified, the answer to that might be, you don't have the qualifications, but you might very well be qualified.
Yeah.
And being qualified as you are, we will help you get the qualifications. We will help you get that grade point average, or we will help you get the opportunity to participate in certain things. But you mentioned Les Brown. And my mother will tell you how far we go back. If you look on your computer or telephone for that matter, I forget about that, and look under No One Rises to Low Expectations, you'll see Les Brown's name. But we were sharing that in the 1990s. But the point is that as an educator, I never, and I refuse today, never had low expectations, whatever the plight of the young people I had the pleasure of working with. Because I know that whatever's happening now, you have potential in one direction or another. And I can say honestly that Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity helped me with that when I was at Chicago Teachers College in the 1960s. But let me go back to Brother Mark Davis. If you were looking for participation with the young people, what might be a role also for their parents, in case there's someone listening who might be interested?
Actually, the way our Kappa League program works, we keep the parents informed. So I have a site that after we have sessions, I kind of like, okay, this is kind of what we went over today, such.
Oh, okay.
But outside of that, no, parents, moms, whatever, no, because I want the boys to have a safe place.
Yes, sir.
I want them to feel like, okay, we can talk, speak to you guys and not worry about you, you guys like squealing on us or whatever.
Okay.
And so we really have a safe environment for the kids. Now, if the kids are doing something that's like dangerous,
yes, sir.
Oh, absolutely, we're going to let the parents know.
Yes,
but
sir.
we're going to let them know, like, look, this is what's going on, such and such and such and such. We're going to make you aware, because a lot of these kids are under a lot of stress.
Yes.
My son grew up in the mean streets of Lee Summit. He's a tough guy, right? But he has stresses that I didn't have from a standpoint of bullying on social media. I think we had a conversation about that at one time before.
Yes, sir.
And so we have to be able to address the mental aspects that these boys go through, and we address that in Kappa League. We have sessions on mental health, leadership, obviously. Goal setting, how to get there, career planning.
Oh, yeah.
The career planning one is big to me because there's a fundamental shift in my mind, and from college, and I think of it like this. I want these young men to be able to provide for themselves and then provide for their families. Well, trade schools are going to be so important.
Wow.
Coming up, because if you think about it, a lot of things. One, you can. Oh, another area we're helping these kids out is in AI.
Yes,
so
sir.
We got to educate them about that. But a lot of these jobs are going to be going away. I had a meeting with a school official, and he said, "Mark, the crazy thing is, our counterparts are training their kids for jobs that don't exist yet.
Right.
We're training our kids for jobs that are going away, that
Absolutely.
won't exist."
Exactly.
And so we've got to take feedback from these young men and find out what's important to them. We were talking about the C student. I had to write this down, but there's so much power in the C student. See, they're only a C student because of someone else's standard.
Okay.
I heard this quote, you don't, you don't judge a fish on his ability on his inability to climb a tree. Fishes don't climb trees.
Thank you.
So a lot of times these young men have talents.
Yes, sir.
But we're trying to get them to climb a daggum tree when they are fish.
Okay.
Let's find out what their creative skills are. It's amazing how they've taken all the creativity out of things. You know what I'm saying? And if you're creative, they stick you in a corner, put a little dunce cap on you.
Yes.
Think differently, right? Because
Yes.
they want you to think a certain way. So we want these boys' minds to open up to all the possibilities. So we are actually I'm doing a couple of because I don't want to reinvent the wheel. There's some companies out there, John Harris.
Yes, sir.
He has the college coaching network. The college coaching network, and then the community consultants. So we can utilize his organization to help teach these young men how to actually build stuff.
Yes, sir.
Right? How construction works. Measure twice, cut once. Little life lessons like that. There's another group. It's called We Code. So I need to reach out to these folks. So if you're there, we code. My name is Mark Davis, 816-213-3711.
Yes.
But I want to make sure that these young men, if they have the capacity to like code and program, I want to work with these organizations that are out there, to help these young men get that education outside of the four walls of their school.
Now, would that be the same contact information if someone is interested in the program?
Absolutely.
Please repeat that.
Yeah, and so my direct number is area code 816-213-3711. And so feel free to give me a call. That phone, it never goes off. So if you have any questions about Kappa League, how to get your nephews, sons, grandchildren involved in our program, do that. Oh, and here's another thing. Oh, it's free.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, this is interesting because, DeQuay, my wife is at home smiling now. I just happened to meet John Harris when he was 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He was in junior high school, and we have known each other since then and have watched his development in so very many ways.
Mm-hmm.
So glad that you mentioned him. Now, today's date, May 10th. This is a program that goes, quote, year-round, unquote. Is there a particular time when you can be contacted for young people to become involved, or can it be whenever they call?
No, whenever they call. I used to run it during the school year.
Yes.
Now I'm running this thing all year round. Right now, currently, we meet like once a month. And then we may have another meeting via Zoom.
Sure.
And then we have events. We have an event that in St. Louis on June the 5th, where we'll be going to meet with other Kappa Leaguers from St. Louis chapter. We're going to do a college tour there. We're going to go to a game. Then we're going to have breakout sessions, a Cardinals game. And then breakout sessions for these young men. Because I believe in the capacity of these young men to come up with their own issues.
Yes.
I can't push my 60-year-old issues. This is how we did it back in my day.
Thank you.
Because it is not my day.
Right.
It's totally different. And I need to sit back and
Believe
watch
me.
and learn.
Yes, sir.
From them. We have an exercise we did with the kids. You remember Monopoly? So what we did was, pick a guy. So everybody had to pick their buddy or whatever. Then one of them flip a coin, heads and tails, right? If you were heads, you were wealthy. If you were tails, you were poor.
Okay.
Right? So then we played Monopoly. Right? They ain't never seen Monopoly before because they play video games.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right.
That's a
so
good
I had to
point.
teach them there. But then what I did was, now this was funny. They would they played the game of Monopoly, but the rich ones, they got $200. They got to use 2 dice. They play by the normal rules. But the poor ones, they only could roll 1 dice. When they pass go, they only got $100. Right? It's kind of like a social experiment, really. So, we let them play and we start watching the attitudes, right?
Yes.
The people that were poor were
Yes.
mad, and then they was having to give their money to the wealthy people, and the wealthy people were like, well,
Hey.
yeah, this is cool, man.
Right.
We're good, we're winning, and all this type of stuff, right? And then afterwards, we had a conversation about it.
Thank you.
Right? Okay, what happened? Or why did you win? Oh, because the way I rolled the dice and such. They didn't understand. They didn't understand. They had an advantage that the other ones didn't have.
Thank you.
And we used it as a lesson. This is what this is kind of a microcosm of kind of what goes on. You don't understand it if you win and you think it's something you did. You just won the flip of a coin.
Let me tell you what is extremely important about what I just heard. How many young people flipped the coin and it landed on its edge? You're going to be over here or you're going to be over there. Being in the middle does not exist for us in the world in which we live.
No.
So when I think about something like that as a practical lesson for those who are interested in their children becoming involved, this is the kind of thing I would like for them to be able to understand, that there are lessons their young boys will be involved with that are practical for the time in which we live. So That's outstanding. I was getting ready to ask you, and you already answered the question. I want you to revisit it when you were talking about, quote, back in my day versus today.
Mm-hmm.
Have you found, when we think about our involvement with the fraternity, that there is an evolution that is extremely different from a couple of decades ago, somewhat different, or can those principles that are applied span the test of time?
That's a difficult question, but I'm gonna do my best.
Okay.
There's a foundation, I think.
Okay.
I'm gonna just talk about fraternity,
Yes, sir.
achievement, brotherhood. Those things don't change.
Thank you.
And it doesn't matter
Thank you.
what, if you want to be the trash man, I'm gonna be the best trash man. Whatever.
That's right.
And I'm gonna find some good stuff. I'm gonna take it home, resell it, and now I got me a little business. Next thing you know, boom, now I got a black Walmart. Something of that nature. So I think those type of things are standard. I think the methods sometimes are
Yes.
a little bit different.
Yes.
But the biggest gap I see are critical thinking skills and influences. It's like because I see a lack of kids being able to critically think, figure stuff out. Remember, we just our parents be like, well, figure it out,
Yeah.
figure
Right.
it out, and we sit there and we end up figuring it out. I think there was a time in my generation, what we did, instead of having our kids figure stuff out, we just gave it to them because. And I'm talking about myself. I'm not going to talk about anyone else. There were some times I did what I call lazy parenting.
Oh.
I'm a great dad, but there's some times I did some lazy parenting. And what lazy parenting is, man, I ain't got time to have you. I'm just going to do it because I just need to get out of the way because I got some other stuff I got to do.
Yes, sir.
Instead of letting him work his way through it. And there's a couple things I'm seeing now as he's adulting. I'm like, that was my fault. Because I did. So now we're having to make up stuff, man. Dad, I ain't got no money to eat. Well, better figure it out. Better go DoorDash or something.
Yes, sir.
Because you got to understand these priorities because we always took care of those things. So I think in some areas there's gaps. But the way we fill the gaps in Kappa Alpha Psi, which I love, I heard someone say one time, but it's real clicky. I said, yeah, we got brothers that are 82 and 28. You're going to have some clicks there, right?
Yes,
As a 60-year-old, there's some things I can't do, right? Physically.
Yes.
So what we do is I've reached out to our younger members, right? So we have some members that are in college now, right? So everybody's involved.
Yes,
because
sir.
My talk with my young Kappa brothers, I don't speak the language. I understand 26-year-olds pretty much because I have a 26-year-old.
Yes, sir.
So those early 20s, but high schoolers, I don't speak their language.
Right.
And I look inauthentic if I try to speak their language. If I try to use terms that they use, they like, whatever, unk, they call me
Yes.
unk and all that, I respect that, though. That's good. At least I'm there now, right?
Okay. All right.
And so what we do is I translate to my younger 20-year-olds, and my 20-year-olds take that, right? They say it in a language that
Okay.
the kids understand.
Okay.
And then we take it a step further, because then I got seniors, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Then we
That's
had
Thank
like
you.
I got
I wasn't
excited,
thinking.
right? But then we take it another level because guess what? My seniors, my older Kappa leaguers,
Yes.
talk to my younger ones.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the older ones will learn their leadership skills by mentoring the younger ones. As the younger ones get older and go through the process, guess what? Now they end up becoming the mentors of the younger ones. Now we're talking about, in money, they talk about compounding interest.
Yes, sir.
See, it's like
Yes, sir.
it's like a tree, and a tree
Wow.
has some fruit. And the fruit has what? Seeds. And the seeds fall down, and next thing you know, you got more trees. That's how we attack this thing.
See, I am so glad that I'm talking to you because of what I am learning. And I am particularly appreciative of the fact that you're saying the same thing about those younger than you. When I was working with Synergy Services and the KUAW, I know you get tired of me repeating the same thing over and over again, but I had work with a group of young people, and I called my session, Teach Me You.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea behind that is I was 15 in 1957. I have reason to believe that 15 is probably not the same in 2025. And I cannot remember all of the young fellas I grew up with. If we wanted to go out and play some ball, I don't remember texting them in the 1950s.
Yeah.
So that when you talk about getting that help, that is so extremely important. And here is why, and here's something else that you can address. It's not only the evolution of technology that we have to get a hold of as we get older. But it is also what we are confronting socio-philosophically. And what I mean by that is what you alluded to earlier. We are facing some situations that the civil rights movement was involved with as far back as the 60s, certainly the 70s and 80s. But even while the issues are extremely similar, the way that we have to get at that are going to be ways that these young people are teaching us. So that's very helpful when you say, do you find that there are young alumni who come back to visit or who tutor or who mentor?
Yeah, absolutely. So we had Michael Shaw's son, Mayor Pro Tem son. He was in our program.
Wow.
And he's one of the people I just think of because he was an incredible capital leader. He'll come back at request and speak with the young folks. In fact, one of the things we're having a planning phase right now. We want to have an annual, be a fundraiser, but we want those alumni of Capital League to come back and speak to the young guys in a formal type setting, and then we'll have a guest speaker there. Because I think that's important because you need to see people who've already been through it, and they can tell you, this is what this is what we got from it, or this is what we were able to glean from it. And I just think it's important to empower those young people to do that. Come back, come speak. It's extremely important. But Brother Boyd, one of the things I had to speak to too, like we talk about gaps for these young people now, everything is so much faster.
Ooh,
it's
good
like
point.
Faster.
Good point.
Even with me, I don't know how this happened, but when I was growing up, we didn't have any cell phones, pagers, anything.
Right.
But I knew by the time, if you were on the west side of Junction City, by the time I got back to the east side of Junction City where I live, my mama knew everywhere I was at. You know, I mean, they had the party line or whatever, but I literally cannot remember before cell phones.
Thank you.
And so you have my son who grew up with cell phones.
Yes.
And you have those things.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is information is sent to them so fast and so often, it can be like a squirrel in the road. They don't know which direction to go. So they've got to have a North Star to point to. And that's what Kappa League is, and that's what Kappa Alpha Psi is. It's a North Star to help guide you to where you want to go. I don't want to change these kids. One of the kids, we did dream boards, and one of the kids had a Bentley on there or something like. They had this nice car. Now, kid's 14. And one of the brothers was like, man, he said, you got some big dreams. And I kind of like side-eyed the brother. I was like, yeah, he does. He said, yeah, but he's only 14. I was like, well, okay. That's 2 years. That gives him enough time to go build a business, such and go get whatever he wants. And I had to speak with that guy afterwards. I was like, do not be in here stepping on these kids' dreams, because you never know what can happen by that. And I'm saying that because baggage, because I remember being a kid and having dream stealers. You tell the idea, and they got 80 reasons why you can't, and can't give you one reason why you can. And to a young person, it can be devastating.
It's interesting that you said that. As a matter of fact, again, one of my stories is something that I heard. I was not in the room when it occurred, but the Reverend Wallace Hartsfield, when he was with us, was in a session, and you might have heard the story, you might have even been there, but what I heard was that Reverend Wallace Hartsfield was with the group discussing getting whatever it was, getting it done. So the first response was, we don't have a budget for it. The second response was, those people downtown are not going to let us do it. The third response was, we don't have enough people. The fourth response was, wait a minute. And the Reverend Wallace Hartsfield was said to have made the comment, we can fill up this room on why we can't do something. Now, is there one thing we can agree upon that we can do?
Right.
So that when we as a fraternity and those young men's parents or mentors or whomever they are saying, how can we help, how can we participate, Brother Mark Davis would be able to say, well, here's one thing you can do, whatever that one thing might be, to write letters, to sponsor an event, to read books or whatever.
And I'm gonna flip it on them. I'm not gonna. I want to ask them, what can you do?
Come on.
See, because then there's some ownership.
Yes, sir.
If I say it, it's a lie. If they say it, it's the truth.
Ah.
Right, type thing. So
Good.
my thing is, I need to challenge people. What do you think? I can't do. Okay, how can you do it?
Yes, sir.
You know, and I got to get that. I
Ooh.
got to get that can, because I got to change that internal conversation that young people are having with the. It's not. Sometimes it's not the outside. It's that internal conversation.
And the good thing about that is not only does that convict me for what I am able to do, but it also teaches someone else at the same time what they can do, or this specific thing might pertain to them.
Mm-hmm.
So that one of the things that I'm interested in, and give me your view, is fraternities and sororities. I'll tell you something about my age. There were 8. So the
Well, I came in there with 8 too.
is that right? Okay. So when we talk about the Divine Nine, do you find that there are ways that our fraternities and sororities are cooperating or encouraging each other?
Yeah, here in Kansas City we have the NPHCKC, it's the National Black Panhellenic, you know, for the Divine Nine. I happen to be over community service with that organization.
Outstanding.
But yeah, the Greeks, you know, I would say this. If you look at each one of these individual organizations, my wife happens to be a Delta, man, they do incredible work in the Kansas City.
Yes, sir.
They do incredible work. Well, we have, and maybe this is a people thing, we do a very poor job of marketing.
Thank you.
And so we do all this stuff, but nobody knows about it.
Exactly.
Very, very few
Exactly.
people. But the Greek family here in Kansas City is phenomenal.
Yes,
you
sir.
know, and what we do and what we can do. And, you know, my thing is, my conversation with my peers, and the other organizations are, we need to work together now. We need to, we need to get ready, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
we ain't got to be ready. So when things happen, we need to we need to be working together in enough things. So when we throw the hat up,
Yes, sir.
everybody knows that's the bat signal, right? Okay, we
Thank
need to
you.
all come together and real quick and show a united front. Because I do believe that before this last presidential election, I don't think the majority of white America knew what the Divine Nine was.
Right.
But all of a sudden, all the Divine Nine started coming together,
Yes.
for Ms.
Kamala
Harris.
Harris. Yes,
then
sir.
it was huge. So you need to. This is just my truth, not the truth. I think there's a target on our backs now.
Right.
They're targeting
Wow. Good
HBCUs because
point.
that's a voting block. And so let's get
Good
if you
point.
have a black organization, we're not going to fund your school. What is
Yes.
the school supposed to do?
Yes.
You can't go under.
Exactly.
And so
Exactly.
that's what they do. So
And
there's
that is the truth of the matter.
yeah. So you think talking about coming together? Oh, we
Yes,
need to make
sir.
sure that we're together so we can strategize and know how to combat that. Because I'm just a strong believer in the I am an American of African descent. I've kind
Yes,
of
sir.
changed what that was, and the reason being is because I'm here. I'm an American, but I have African descent. I've researched my my lineage. Right.
Thank you very
The
much.
Black Archives of Mid-America went there, and they have classes and they teach how to do that, which was a big deal. But the thing is, we have to make sure that we can work together. That's what I'm saying. We're good enough on our own. When this is funny. What was that movie? Keep running the astronaut. Hidden Figures. Right?
Oh, okay.
That movie, Hidden Figures. I was sitting there watching that, and I started laughing. And my wife was like, "What are you laughing at?" I was like, "All of these black women went to black schools."
Come on.
Right?
Yes,
we
sir.
was, Sumner, before it was Sumner Academy, was doing an incredible job
Wow.
here in Kansas City.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is we just wanted equal access. We didn't want, the integration thing to happen. We just needed equal
Goodness
access.
gracious.
So if
Now you're taking me back.
Right, and so if you take that whole scenario and understand, we good.
Now, while you were talking, I promise you, I only thought about 17 things or so.
So you need some paper. See, I got
That's right. But among those things is someone I often quote. His name is Leon Dixon. Now, Leon Dixon, one of the founders of the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center, is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. And he and I have often talked about fraternities and sororities getting together to help young people after school. These kinds of programs, letting them be properly, quote, advertised, as it were. And other things that you make me mindful of. I had the privilege in, it was 77, working with Reverend Jackson in Chicago. And I often tell the story that he came to my office, and this is what he said to me. Carl, John Hope Franklin wants to talk to you. When he said it, I kind of looked around like, okay, come on. And I said, wow. John Hope Franklin. And he said, yes, he's over at the University of Chicago. So I repeated it. John Hope Franklin. He said, yeah, he wants to see you at 3 o'clock. Then I saw that Reverend Jackson look serious, like, so, yeah, I'll be there. But this is the point. At the end of our conversation, John Hope Franklin said to me, Carl, I understand what you and Rev are doing, Reverend Jesse Jackson, but we must teach our children after school. So when I think about the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center as being exemplary, I think about such programs as what you are saying and how important that is after school. So when we come back, let us continue with not only the repetition of the contact information, but where we go from here as a program and the involvement of young boys. It happens, KUAW, that inasmuch as ours is a fraternity, these are young males, but the fact that your wife is in a sorority, there are things that the ladies are doing as well. But we'll come back and talk about the Kappa League. First, before our break, I always ask the founder of KUAW.org, the gentleman responsible not only for the program, the philosophy, but the technology, is with us in this studio this afternoon. His name is Louis George Walker, and he will tell all of us how to maintain access of Wave Your Grades on KUAW.
Well, thank you, Carl. Thank you. And happy Mother's Day in advance to all the mothers out there. We want to definitely recognize those that are most important in our lives. But you're listening to KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station. You can pick us up on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You can also listen to us audio only on Get Me Radio, my online radio bot, my online tuner, the TuneIn app, and if you have a smart speaker like Google or Siri or something like that, just tell it to play KUAW Radio, and you can pick us up. We broadcast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we take no breaks. So thank you, and now back to Wave Your Grades.
Thank you very much. And now, Wave Your Grades, we'll go back to DeQuay Wilson for this announcement.
Quick break to remind our 7th through 12th grade students that you can win a monetary award from our sponsoring organization. And I say for our students, but adults that are listening, please let your students know, 7th through 12th grade. Our sponsoring organization is Stutes for Boots. You'll write an essay which will be titled Heroes You Know You Didn't Know Were Heroes. Your content will identify a veteran at your school who can be absolutely anyone, custodian, teacher, cafeteria worker, absolutely anyone. If your essay is chosen and submitted by an adult who gives you permission to read it on this Wave Your Grades program, you will be awarded a monetary prize. Please send entry or inquiry to academicpatriotism@gmail.com, academicpatriotism@gmail.com. Now back to our host, Carl Boyd.
Thank you so very, very much. And our very special guest this afternoon is Brother Mark Davis. Mark, you mentioned Black Archives of Mid-America, and you can tell us a little more about your role there. And also media offerings and media participation with young people. So,
Yeah, I'm the treasurer for the Black Archives of Mid-America, and so I'm on the board. Incredible organization there again
Yes.
too. I like to say, this is my own personal tagline for them. It's the truth lives at the Black Archives.
wow, I like that.
Yeah, well, think about it. There's so much misinformation or disinformation going on.
This is good.
Misinformation or disinformation going on about the Black community. Well, it's all in a book. Or it's all stored there at
Yes,
the Black Archives.
sir.
And so our executive director, our CEO, Dr. Karma, is an incredible, I'm a fanboy, I can't lie.
Yes, sir.
She is so knowledgeable on all of this
Yes.
stuff. And the way she runs that organization is, I'm proud to be on the board with it, right?
Wow.
So I'm greatness adjacent, right, when I'm, when I'm with her. But, so it's an organization where we archive information about, African Americans. You want to do research. The movie The Great Debater, was here. Found out that the character that Denzel Washington playing with the Lincoln High School.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's from Kansas City. He's,
Yes.
and so there's information there. We have the what are the pages? The papers. They were just here. I'm sorry, my 60G just kicked in.
Was it
The dancer.
Alvin Ailey?
Alvin Ailey, thank you very much. I got three other brains to help me out sometimes. But we're the holder of the Alvin Ailey paper. So there's a lot of things that are there that are incredible. And whenever I do a tour of the Black Archives, the first thing some people say, I didn't know this was here.
Yes, sir.
It's right in
Yes,
it's right in the Jazz District with everything else. And it's one of those things. It's got to be a pilgrimage. You got to go.
Yes, sir.
And one of the services
Yes,
that
sir.
they do provide is our archivist. She works with people to help them do genealogy. Go do your go find using Ancestry.com and things like that. You go find out what are your roots, right, and find out what they are. And it's amazing when you start going through your own family history and you start seeing trends. You see your own family DNA. Like everybody in my family's always done this, and then every now and then, boom, somebody will pop out. Like I have someone in my great grandfather was a fireman back when
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was like, okay. I mean, actually on the
Right.
census documents, had firemen, but I got a lot of folks in my tree that are laborers, which is understandable.
Well, I have to tell you that it is a source of pride for DeQuay Wilson and myself that when KCPBS, as a matter of fact, DeQuay Wilson is on the board, the advisor. What was it? What was that role?
Community Advisory Board.
She played a role on the Community Advisory Board for KCPBS, but we did some briefs called Passing the Baton. And again, DeQuay appeared on one of those, but they were actually taped at the Black Archives of Mid-America. And they saw fit to do that because that made what they were attempting to project relevant. That gave credibility to what KCPBS was doing because they did it at the Black Archives of Mid-America. So thank you very much for that. As a matter of fact, we need to talk about them even more. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure to, like I said, to be there, and the quality of people that we have around us. Our president of our board, Dr. Marjorie Williams. I mean, there's just some great individuals. Carol Taylor, incredible, successful African American business owner. It's just
Jim Watts.
Jimmy Watts. Yeah, so you become like those who you hang out with, right? So I'm trying to hang out with some good people so I could be more like them. Right?
Clearly, without a doubt, as far as that is concerned. The other thing is media. One of the things that you and I have talked about, and Brother Louis George Walker, we often talk about mass media and social media. when I was 15, going back to that, we had 3 channels: ABC,
Right.
NBC, CBS, and we had a local, not cable, but anyway. When we talk about media in today's world for young people, and they can call up all of these different, what we would refer to back then as channels, how might those who participate in the fraternities program gain intelligence where media are concerned?
Well, we have one of the younger guys do this, right? Even though I'm a computer science guy, this younger stuff is over my head a little bit. But we have a presence on Facebook, Instagram. I'm sure those kids are on Snapchat. I have to check. I use an internal program called BAND. That's my communication program to communicate with the parents and the young men to, hey, this is what we're doing. But I'm excited to announce one of our goals is, one of the things we want to do is, when I came to Kansas City, they had this incredible show on the radio. It's called Generation Rap. Right? And
I remember that.
we are older, man. We still listen to Generation Rap, and if your kid was on there, you was something else, right? Yeah, go listen to my baby on Generation Rap.
Wow.
But it was fantastic, and I was like, man, that's an idea. How do we kind of manipulate that? Or not manipulate, it's the wrong word, but how do we leverage that?
Yes, sir.
For today.
Yes, sir.
And so one of the things there again, this is a goal. It's in the planning sessions. What I want to do is, I want to actually build a studio. Now, I don't want to build a daggum studio. We want these kids to build a studio. So first, phase 1 is, put together a little business plan for it.
Okay.
Phase 2 is we have some members of Kappa Alpha Psi that are architects, right?
Yes.
So the kids are going to meet with the architects to design the studio. That's the first thing, right?
Wow.
Then we have some people like I was talking, Brother Harris, construction.
Yeah.
Well, next thing, okay, well, how do we build this thing? So the kids are going to actually hands-on. We want these boys to build the studio. Well, then we need monitors and such. So we'll get some in-kind folks to maybe do some donation. We'll write some grants to see if we can get that. And at the end game is, these young men will be doing Generation Rap Phase 2 on Kappa League TV, right? And we have a network that's called Kappa League TV.
Wow.
And the thing I love about that is now two things can happen. One, Kappa League could be self-funding, so I can teach these guys how to, let's go build. When I was a track coach here in Kansas City, it's like, you coach with the keys. Our kids would go to, nationals and everything, and a lot of the people would have their kids standing on a corner with a bucket asking for money. Oh, no, we ain't doing that. First of all, it's dangerous. Second of all, I'm not teaching them anything.
Wow.
So we would do car wash. We got into relationships with Walmart. We did hot dogs, all those type of things, so the kids could earn the money to go there.
Yes.
And then we learned something from one of the kids. Now, this is funny, right? This is why you got to listen to kids. So we were trying to figure out how much we're going to charge for the hot dogs. And I said, well, let's do $1 for each thing. So it was like $3 chips, a drink.
Yeah.
So he said, no, Mr. Davis, let's not do that. Let's just let them donate. And I was like, okay. I'm like, it's their program. Well, guess what? When they donated, they was doing like $10 and $20 instead of doing the 1, the 1, 2, 3. Like, hey, whatever you think. Now you get a couple people give you $1, right?
No, but that's
but it is what it is.
I love your receptivity in as much as you receive. Please, I thought you were going to. Our producer and this is our peach. Producer, engineer, announcer, and co-host. DeQuay Wilson is letting us know how much time we have left, so I want to call upon Louis George Walker right quick. And, of course, you didn't know you were going to be a program guest, but in as much as you're someone on whom I can depend, you hear our brother Davis talking about young people being involved with the technology of the medium of TV. How does that sound to you?
Oh, that is fantastic. That's fantastic. And definitely know some people that would like to work around with it, especially on the professional side.
Wow.
So I'll talk to him a little bit off the air. But there's people looking for young people to study and come out graduating with sound engineering degrees.
Wow.
They work with sound, they work with production and stuff. that they're looking to hire those type of people because we don't have a lot of them that look like us in the industry here in Kansas City.
Thank you.
Even though, we have one of the first black broadcast stations in the country.
Yes, sir.
Here in town, we should be producing people to carry that on, to move that forward, because we've got a history of it. It started here in Kansas City. We got a black radio station that got started right here in Kansas City. So we need to have people in the pipeline.
Yes, sir.
To take it to that next level. And the one thing I was thinking what the gentleman said is the phase 2, because you have to get with the young people now. It's not going to be phase 2. It's going to be 2.0.
Right.
Good point.
That's the way they go now.
I love that.
Right. The generation rap 2.0.
I like it. Look, name change.
Yeah. Hey, that's amazing.
No, but that's the type of collaboration I'm talking about. Kevin Holmes. He's a Kappa.
Yes.
And on our board. And so
I want to talk to him so badly. He's from Chicago.
Yeah.
That's why. But please go ahead.
No, but I'm just saying it's those are relationships we look at, and as black folks all together, that's the path we have got to take. We have got to get back to collaboration. I had a long conversation with Ollie Gates a couple years ago, and he said, we had back in the day we had a forced economy. We had to have our own doctors, lawyers in our own neighborhoods because we weren't allowed to go to other places.
Come on.
And I think I'm looking for the rainbow or whatever. I'm looking for the donut hole, whatever you want to call it. I think through all this turmoil that's going on, I think that's something that's good that's going to come out. We're going to finally understand that we don't need a seat at a table. Our table's big enough.
Wow.
We're kind of taking a seat back. Like y'all go do y'all. We gonna go ahead and take care of our own. I think that's a big deal. And I did want to say this real quick before because you had said something earlier about mentoring.
Yes, sir.
I do have this program. We have that's Eric Dickinson right there. We do have 3 phases in our Kappa League program, and of course I got 1, 2, 3, 4. But mentoring is so our curriculum is kind of like our Entrepreneur Academy. So we are doing an Entrepreneur Academy where we're teaching about entrepreneurship. The next thing is going to be our mentorship curriculum. And then the last one here is our tutoring curriculum, academic support for success. So in the fall, our hope is we'll reach out to the schools again, because I started it earlier. I dropped the ball, but no big deal. We'll pick it back up then,
yes,
right?
Sir.
But we want to have a bank of brothers on Zoom that kids need mentoring. They can just come into the Zoom, and then Zoom has breakout rooms. So if they need help with things, such and such, they can get their tutoring online. So we got math fundamentals, English fundamentals, science, technology, SAT, ACT prep, college prep, business economics, financial literacy, public speaking.
Yes.
We definitely take care of public speaking through GuideRight, because I can't have these kids looking down. Right. No, head up, eyes forward. Yes. And project, right?
Yes,
so,
indeed.
And then the last thing we talk about is their uniform. And what's their uniform? That's what you're wearing. Because before I can even talk to you, I'm going to see you first.
Wow.
And how I see you, and I'll share this with you, Brother Boyd. If there's any parents out there or kids that are getting ready to get their driver's licenses, make sure that that young man has a collared shirt on, a blazer, if you got to go borrow one or something like that.
Yes.
When he gets that picture taken for that driver's license.
Wow.
Because when he gets pulled over, if he got his hoodie on and stuff, and they look in the car and he's got his hoodie on, like, okay, they're gonna say, okay, this is what this guy is. But if they see he's got a collared shirt on, or a blazer, or a tie, or something like that, when he gets that picture taken, they're gonna like, oh, he must be out doing something. But this is how they're gonna second guess. This is what he really looks like. This is who he really is. And that's there again, little tiny thing, big effect.
Wow.
Yeah, my son, I don't want to wear it. Well, you just ain't gonna get a license. It's kind of simple, son. Okay, I'm gonna do it this time.
I think so. We have come to the end of the hour. Any final mention?
No, I just want to, thank you for having me come out. Kappa League, if you're interested, there again, my name is Mark Anthony Davis. My number is 816-213-3711. Feel free to call me. I had several calls while I was here, and that's okay. I'll get back to you. But we want to grow the program.
Outstanding.
I have 10. I'd like to get 35 to 40 kids.
Thank you so much. God bless you, Brother Mark Davis. And we will do this again, and I hope reasonably soon.
No problem.
let us turn it over to our peach. This is Sister DeQuay Wilson.
I want to thank you all, our listeners, our guests, our viewers, for joining us on your Students for Boots Wave Your Grades program. We do come to you live every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. Central Standard Time from the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center right here in Kansas City, Missouri. I am your announcer, DeQuay Wilson, and now our host we'll close with Carl's commentary on, or no. He just showed me.
All right.
He will close with his daily message for students in honor of our veterans from his book, Morning Messages. Back to our host, Carl
Thank
Boyd.
you. To students across the USA, your Students for Boots message for this day. They stand at attention in formation, so you can get attention at your graduation. This is Wave Your Grades on KUAW. do you think KUAW works? Maybe KUAW.org. Thank you, Brother Mark Davis. We will do it again. My name is Carl Boyd. Gracious God and wonderful Wanda. I'm on my way home.
All right. Yeah. What's the start?